Does the name Harry Price mean anything to you?
No.
Well, me neither, but he certainly made a name for himself for all the wrong reasons in the mid-80s. When the home computer boom hit the UK in the early 80s, the bedroom coder was born. The term was coined because anybody could write a game, send it off to a software house and hope for it to get published. This is exactly what Harry Price was doing. Details of his early games seem a bit sketchy. A casino game amongst others that don't look like they got published. So Mr. Price tried a new tactic to get his games noticed. IJK Software, who had some success publishing games for the BBC Micro, the Oric and the Acorn platforms, wanted to get into the ZX Spectrum market because that's what everybody else was doing. Meanwhile, a successful budget software house called Mastertronic had just released their biggest hit to date, which was also highly praised by all the magazines. This game was called Spellbound. Apparently selling over 150,000 copies of the game on their MAD title, which stands for Mastertronic Added Dimension. These games were a slightly higher price point for Mastertronic at $2.99, so were considered more polished titles. Spellbound was a worthy successor to the already popular Magic Knight series with the game Finders Keepers. After successfully winning over the king and getting your feet under the top table, or the top knight table in the first game, there's a new mission to be accomplished by a Magic Knight, something about wizards and rice puddings. It wouldn't be a Spectrum game if it was just a normal story. Magazines loved this graphic adventure, mainly because of the good price point. They seemed to think you'd be nuts not to pick this up for £3. It even features in my video about all the games that got the highest accolade from all the 3 main Spectrum magazines. A true classic. So, around a year later, Harry Price sends off his new game, Crime Busters, to IJK Software in the hope to get it published by them. And publish it they do. Obviously impressed with Harry's work, they release the game under their Strobe label and start shipping copies of the cassette out to stockists and review copies to all the 3 main magazines. One such magazine was Sinclair User. A member of staff at the magazine, Jim Douglas, who actually later became an editor for the magazine, playtested this game and immediately started recognising similarities with another. The game very much reminded him of Spellbound. Similar screens, same menu system, window vision or whatever it was called. It was so similar to the Mastertronics game that he decided to contact Mastertronics and let them know that this could be a copy. So what did he find? Well, I've managed to get hold of a copy of Crime Busters, so let's run it alongside Spellbound and let's see if we can figure out how obvious this was. So right off the bat we have Crime Busters, a real graphic problem by Harry Price, against Spellbound, a true graphic adventure by David Jones. No similarities at all. Oh, and here basically he's replaced the wizard Gimbal with Professor Potts. So it's basically the same plot for the game. Nicely done, Harry. No similarities there. And the keys are, it's a key set rather than the keys are, but they're exactly the same. Even the names are the same. So Thor becomes Cook, the Banshee is the Weasel, Lady Rosemar is Dame Gertie, and so on. So yeah. Really completely different games, eh? So to begin with, it looks like a different game here. Except for the fact that the characters move in exactly the same way. You see the Spellbound character when he jumps around like a lunatic. The Crime Busters character also does the same thing. There's the Spellbound menu system. So yeah, top and bottom layer level looks the same here. And there's the Crime Busters menu system. Slightly similar, wouldn't you say? Oh, but you don't execute an order, you effect an order. So he's changed it, you see, so it's not the same. Genius. See that? Effect order. Whereas on Spellbound, you execute command. Ah, yes. completely different. And it's pink. Yeah. Oh look, the examine options are exactly the same. Just obviously different wording. Here we are in the lift, which takes you between the different parts of the levels, and again exactly the same, except we don't go to the roof, we go to the road, and we don't go in a lift, we're going in an elevator. How he could deny that this was a copy of the game, I really don't know. I mean, it couldn't be more obvious. Crimebusters, copyright IJK Software, 1986 by Harry Price. Spellbound, copyright Mastertronic, 1985 by David Jones. Yeah. Way to go. I mean, at least the road looks like a road and not a rooftop garden as it does in Spellbound, so at least he's changed that up a bit. Back in the lift or the elevator. We can't go to the ground floor in Spellbound, and we can't go to the cellar. The elevator is out of order at the moment, but someone can help to cut through the tangled guide roads. Yeah, the spell check clearly wasn't done here either. I mean, did anybody at IJK actually play this through, or did they just look at it quickly and go, yeah, that looks good, chuck it out. Looks like a pretty decent game. And the fact that they tried to sell it for $6.95 when the original game was $2.99 that it was ripping off. It's just crazy. But maybe they didn't know. You know, there was a lot of games out, which I think was their argument. Even though Spellbound was one of the biggest selling at the point of time. But hey, we'll let that go. So yeah, just showing you some of the different levels here. And here's the very, very similar level, the tower and the door. Just to show you that a lot of the screens are the same. Well done, Harry. And you can see by these fan-made maps as well that there are some similarities. Particularly if you look at the bottom levels, the basement levels here on Crimebusters. And then compare those same levels with Spellbound. Here you go, all that brickwork at the bottom. It's just identical, it's just, there's no denying it. So what happens next? A news article in Sinclair User actually puts it all rather eloquently. IJK, the top BBC software house now trying to break into the Spectrum software market, is covered in embarrassment. It's been forced to drop its first Spectrum release because chunks of the game's code have been pirated from Mastertronic's Spellbound. Harry Price, the author of the offending game, called somewhat ironically Crimebusters, at first denied the program was a rip-off, but Alison Beasley of Mastertronic says, "The first 50 bytes of both programs are exactly the same. The solutions to the games are almost the same, the character sets are copies, and even our hacker trap is included in IJK's game." And here is the hacker trap that she was talking about. Very interesting. Hello hacker, fancy meeting you here. Brilliant. Beasley gave Price two options. I told him to write an apology to us stating that the game was copied, but Price refused, and according to Beasley she said, "In that case, you'll receive a writ for fraud and infringement of copyright tomorrow." After that, he agreed to write the letter. Since the discussion, IJK has withdrawn Crimebusters and asked distributors to return all stocks. Mastertronic received the game from Sinclair user staffer Jim Douglas, who, being a sharp lad, noticed similarities between Crimebusters and Spellbound. Around the time with all this mess with Spellbound and Crimebusters, IJK had another feud with another games company over their game Quest for Freedom, but this was a bit more complicated. Either way, the company didn't release any other games after 1987, so must have closed down. As for Harry Price, well, he was churning out other people's games before this one. Odd Job Eddie was also another game released by Strobe, and that was a rip-off of Bug Bite's Parama Mania. And then he started working for another software label, rather aptly named, the irony, Pirate Software, where he was just modding games left, right and centre. Here's a list of some of those beauties that he claimed to be his. Anyway, that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed this one, please like and subscribe and check out my other videos. And as always, I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.